Hi everyone, welcome to Franka's Fab Family. I am Franka and you are in my kitchen and I have a very special treat for you today. We are going to make roti. I am from Trinidad and I also lived in the British Virgin Islands for a very long time, and I learned how to make roti. It's one of our very special meals. I remember when I first started making roti, I mean, it took me like a whole Saturday, flour all over the kitchen and everything like that. But as I practice, I can knock out a batch of roti within 12 to 15 good sized dough in about an hour and a half or less. So I am going to show you today how to make the skin. I'm making actually Dhal Puri. That's where it's stuffed with yellow split peas. And then I'm going to split the show up into 3 pieces. I'm going to do a curry chicken as well as a curry shrimp because Gabe, he doesn't like shrimp. So we have to make some chicken for him. So let's get started. The ingredients you're going to need is 3.5 cups of sifted flour. What I mean by sifted flour, this will make sure that your dough is light and fluffy. It doesn't have lumps in it. You're going to take your flour and put it in a strainer and you're going to sift it. That means you're going to get air in between the flour and you're going to make sure that there is no lumps in your flour. You see, had I poured this in like that, when the water hits this, your dough might become very lumpy. Then you can just take your hands and make sure all of the flour is separated. So 3.5 cups of flour. Then we're gonna have chickpeas. I'm sorry, split peas. The chickpeas goes in the protein. So split peas, this is the split peas already boiled and dried out. You're going to need a bag of split peas. Right? This is what it looks like after it has been cooked and dried. When you strain out your split peas, it normally takes anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes for this to cook. You don't want to cook it where it's very soft because you want it almost al dente. You're going to strain the water out of it, and then you're going to leave it like this for some time. So that way all of the moisture can drip out of it and the peas become dry. You see, now it's dry. So that way, when you blend it, it makes a powdery, like flour consistency, and you'll see why later on. So you'll need a bag of split peas, right? Then we have a teaspoon of salt. We have a tablespoon of baking powder. I have 2 tablespoons of ground cumin, and I have 1 tablespoon of turmeric. I also have water. When I make my roti, I find that when I heat up the water about 30 seconds to 45 seconds in the microwave, it makes the dough very soft, right? I prefer it that way. It makes a softer dough. And then we have about 1/4 cup of oil, and this is for frying of the dough later on. After your split peas is cooked, we have to blend it, right? I have a magic bullet and I find that it works well, but you have to do it in small portions. Or you can use a big blender, right? As you can see, it makes a powder. Let me show you, it makes a powder. When you add this to the flour, you'll see later on that it needs to be dry, it can't be sticky. So we're gonna finish this. This makes it really easy. I'm gonna do the last batch. And we're gonna do this to all of it. Okay, that's the last batch of the split peas. Now you can continue with your roti at this stage, but I am really big on flavors. I like all of my dishes to actually taste, and I just like to put a little extra oomph on it. And I'm gonna show you a little trick that I do with my peas to add just an extra touch of flavor. I actually roast it now. This is done. Like I said, you can continue at this pace if that works for you, but I'm gonna show you on the stove. I like to toast it just a little bit more and then add the cumin there and toast it in a dry pan, and it gives it a different flavor. It like gives it a roasted flavor in the roti, and it's second to none. So let me show you that. Okay, in a dry pan, do not put any oil or anything like that. If you have a non-stick pan, even better. But I have a stainless steel pan and it's fine. But you're going to have to stand here and toast it. So you're going to put all the crushed split peas in here. I'm telling you, you try it without doing this and then try it with doing it, and you will see that the flavor palette really goes up a notch. I will then put the cumin, the ground cumin in it. Also, if your peas for whatever reason was a little bit too mushy or a little bit too moist, doing this method would also dry it out to really give it a really good powdery consistency. And you can add a little bit of salt. You can add the salt there too. You can add half of the salt or all of the salt. And you can do this on low heat, low to medium heat, for about 5 to 10 minutes. But you have to keep it moving because you don't want it to burn. You're actually toasting it. It gives it a whole different flavor palette. I've been toasting this now for roughly about 5 to 7 minutes. So I'm going to add the turmeric. It makes the flavor a little higher when you toast it with it. Turmeric has so much nutritional value and stuff like that. So the more seasoning, the better to me. You see? It's nice and toasted now. It looks like a nice flour, powdery consistency. And keep turning it. And we're gonna let this cool. While we wait on the split peas to cool, we're going to start the dough mixture, right? I like to use a fork to begin with because, again, it doesn't allow the dough to become tough by kneading it and things like that. Oh, and I did forget earlier, we do need a little bit of oil for the dough, right? So we're gonna make a well. We're gonna put the baking powder in. We're going to mix that. You don't really have to add salt here because you added the salt in the split peas. So we're going to mix that really well. And then you're going to take 2 tablespoons of canola oil because it's going to need a little bit of fat. And then we're going to mix that up. mix it, mix it, mix it, mix it. And then I like to make a well in the middle of the bowl. Roti is actually much easier than we actually ever thought that it was before. Again, I like to warm my water because I find it makes the dough very soft instead of a tough dough. I have 2 cups of water in here and it's warm. You'll see a little bit of steam. And let me show you. I'm going to fold the flour into the water. Come over here. So I will then fold the flour into the water. Any kind of all-purpose flour is just fine. See, then you get all the flour from around the corners. The fork just allows the dough to still be light and fluffy. I like a very soft dough. Need a little bit more water. I will then now start to move to the spatula. Fold the dough in on itself. And then I will start to knead the dough with my hands. The dough is very soft. Your dough shouldn't be tough. And you're going to need some extra flour for the surface to start to roll out the balls. See, the dough is very soft. It's a soft dough. Get all of the flour. After the dough, it's a very soft dough. When you bring all the dough together, it's a very soft dough. I find that trick, when you do it with the warm water, it makes a big difference. Your dough becomes very, very soft. So then we're gonna let the dough rest for about 20 minutes. We're going to cover it and then we're going to leave it. You are going to see that the flour to split peas ratio is quite different, right? This is more split peas than we would need. But what I would normally do, I boil the whole bag. That saves you with gas and things like that. And after, you can freeze it. So you will already have prepared split peas for the next time you want to make roti, right? So on a cleaned and floured surface, the dough again is still soft. It's not a hard dough, right? So we're going to cut the dough in half. We're going to cut the dough in half again. We're going to cut the dough in half again. And so we have 8 roti doughs. We can, because the children are small, let's cut the dough one more time in half again. And I'm going to show you, it really does stretch when you put that. So we'll have 16 rotis, right? Then you're going to take all your roti and make it into a ball. That one is a little small. When you go to a restaurant, you normally would get these big, ginormous roti doughs. I don't like them that big because that's just a lot of food. I still like to control our portion sizes. You're going to need a towel so your dough does not dry out. So as you put it in the balls, you're going to cover it. If you find that your dough is a little dry, you can put a little oil on your hand. So you're going to knead the dough onto itself. if your house is cool. You see? You'll get the hang of it as you try it more and more. You're just making balls. You're kneading the dough, you're folding it in on itself. You see, you're taking it, you're folding it in, you're folding it in, and as you move it, you use your palm of your hand to fold it in on itself, right? So now that this is done, you're gonna oil your hand. Gonna rub it in the palm of your hand, and you're gonna go over all the balls, right? And we're gonna start to stuff each ball now, right? We're gonna keep them covered, again, so they don't dry out. So you're gonna start with one ball, and you're gonna make like what is called a little pocket. It's gonna look like a little bowl in your hand. And you're gonna take a tablespoon. It might look like it's not gonna be able to hold all of that, but it really can. You're gonna stretch your dough out. You see? Then you're going to take the split peas and you're gonna fold it down in, right? Then you're gonna take the corners. Let me fold it in more. You're gonna press down. So you're creating a pocket for it. And then you're gonna pinch all the dough together. And you're gonna create another ball, turning the dough in on itself. And you're gonna put this down. That's one done. I'm gonna show you again. With your hand, you're going to keep going around in a circle. See? You're gonna take a whole tablespoon of that split peas. You're gonna take the back of the spoon and press it down. Press it down in. And then you're gonna close up the dough. I have a little extra too much. Then we're gonna close it in on itself. Right? So I'm gonna do the rest of them. You might wonder, why don't you take this mixture and just mix it up with the flour, right? I did that once. It does not taste the same. It's like, imagine, you know how you like sushi and you can taste all the different layers. You taste the rice, you taste the seaweed, you taste the fish, you taste everything. If you mixed everything all up, you will not get that layer of flavor palette. So one time I did, I threw the split peas in the flour. And it really does not taste the same. So while this might seem labor intensive, it's really, really worth it. So just try it. It's wonderful. And definitely, if you go to a Caribbean restaurant, especially a Trini restaurant, make sure that you try the roti, the Dhal Puri roti. There's another roti called Boss Up Shot. A family friend I know, paratas, a parata roti, a potato roti. They come in so many different styles and flavors and stuff like that. See? So I'm gonna finish the rest of them. Okay, this is the last one to fill. And we have About half of it left. I will put this in the freezer. I'm very big on conserving energy and resources. So again, the reason why I will boil the whole bag is because you can cook the whole bag. This will last in your freezer for months. So when you want to do the roti again, you actually already have this step already prepared. So I wanted to show you guys that, right? So I will put this in the freezer. Now that the dough is all rolled out, we're going to take one, it's stuffed, and we're going to flatten it. We're going to flatten it out, trying our best not to break it because it's filled with that split peas. We're going to flatten it, flatten it, flatten it before we cook it. And then we're gonna flour our pin. And we're going to roll it out. See, there's a pocket. We are going to roll it out and turn it. This would have made 4 much larger doughs. Let's move that over. This batch I made it smaller so you guys can manage it. You're gonna see it's gonna break a little bit. And then let's fry this. This pan is called a tawa. You can order it on Amazon. We're gonna grease it. It's a cast iron flat pan. But if you don't have one of these, a non-stick frying pan will do. So we're going to put this on. Like I said, I made these dough really small because of the children. But remember when we had the eight pieces of dough, that will give you almost a plate size dough. So these are smaller just to manage and for the children to manage. You're gonna keep turning it. You're gonna baste this side as well. It will start to puff up. Actually, I think 2 of them can fit. So I'm gonna put another one here. Now these are very small roti doughs. This is just how I do it for my children. So it's easier for them to manage. And you just let it toast. It's a yummy flatbread. What you will do is get a plate, wet a clean towel, you're going to wring it out as much as you can, and you are going to fold it, it's a piece of thread, fold it over the plate. That way this will allow your dough to stay nice and soft. Right. So when they're nice and toasted, you take them off. Then you do another batch, but you cover it. The towel just has to be damp. Okay, here are the roti doughs. I was able to make, I think 16, but they're small. They're small, they're pliable. You can actually bend them. Because I deal with the children, I make them a whole lot smaller, but I would have left them plate size if I was dealing with adults. And here, curry chicken and shrimp curry. I just want to show you guys the flakiness of this. And that split peas in the middle of it, it created like a little pocket of flavor. And now we're gonna taste. Let's take one and break it. We normally just break it, or you can, on the larger ones, you would wrap it up and have it, it'll look almost like a burrito wrapped up. But again, because I'm always dealing with children, I do it that how they can manage it. So we're gonna break it. We're gonna taste. That is good. That is a winner. The potatoes, the chickpeas, the curry flavor, amazing. I have one hand, and now we're gonna try the shrimp. I have two hands. If you like roti, if you have ever visited the Caribbean, or you have ever tried a roti, I'm telling you, try this recipe. You can definitely make this at home. It's roti, curry chicken, and curry shrimp. See you next time. I'm Franka Potter.